Hey, good afternoon to you. Marcus out of HurricaneTrack here. It's Friday now, the 7th of November, 2025. Good to be with you. Got to watch this area in the Southwest Caribbean. I know the GFS is all alone and trying to spin something up over there, but as I talked about yesterday, a more favorable upper level pattern looks to be setting in as we move through the rest of November. The area is climatologically favored. The water temperatures are still very warm there. And there are a few areas of energy that could try to maybe coalesce down there and give us something to track in the tropical sense over the next couple of weeks or so. That'll be pretty much a bulk of what we talk about here today. All right? So let's get started. First of all, a visit to the National Hurricane Center homepage. Nothing in the Atlantic Basin or the Eastern Pacific or the Central Pacific. But you know what? I forgot to get the, we'll just do it here. We do have that Typhoon Feng Wang way out here in the Westpac that will be impacting the Philippines over the coming days. We'll talk about this more on Monday as we go forward. All right, I just wanted to bring that up because it is going to be a big, impactful event. Meanwhile, though, in the Atlantic Basin, not much going on out there. We're going to watch this area of energy here. There's a tropical wave right there. And other than that, pretty good trades coming through the Caribbean. Cold front's going to be coming down, bringing the coldest air of the fall season to much of the area east of the Mississippi next week. But it's really the tropics down here that I'll be watching closely. Of course, it's my job over the next several days. Now, vorticity-wise, not much down there. We do notice nothing in the Southwest Caribbean to speak of, but there's a little piece of energy right here, clearly visible on the vorticity map here from the University of Wisconsin site. And that's going to make its way west into the Caribbean. Then you have this energy that comes off the mountains of South America. And just once in a while, all of that comes together and you get this forcing down here at the surface, the way the curvature of Central America is, the geography. It all works out with an upper level pattern and warm sea surface temperatures that once in a while you do get something to develop down there even this late in the season. So we'll be on the lookout for that. And the GFS, pretty insistent on it happening. This is the 12Z run from today. And it's that same level of the atmosphere, 850 millibars. There's that energy sitting out in the far western reaches of the tropical Atlantic just before the islands here. And a little bit of energy that's coming off these mountains down here. Other than that, nothing really to seed this. However, even the next 5 days, and it's just fascinating to me to watch this energy coming off of these mountains down here in South America. And then sometimes you get these tropical waves that come in, and it's just enough to kind of light the fire, if you will, to get more spin, more convergence down there, and you're off to the races. Will it happen this time around? Well, at 96 hours, the GFS does start to hint at more vorticity starting to focus down in this area. You've got this big area of high pressure, those gap winds. I'm going to show you that post there from Taft B in just a minute. But maybe there's just enough to squeeze everything together to get something to try to close off down here and possibly bring some tropical weather, something. As you can see here, this is day 5. The GFS pretty aggressive with it. The Euro, not at all. I'll show you that in a moment. But, it's not out of the realm of possibility. So we have to pay attention and remember just that alone, a large loose area of vorticity and energy could bring a lot of rain for Nicaragua, Honduras, maybe Costa Rica, maybe Panama, we'll see. But it's just curious. And considering what we talked about yesterday with Ben Knoll's tweet, it's worth watching. I mean, not much else to do, right? The Euro, though, not having it. It does have the tropical wave there, and you can clearly see it, and some of that energy that's coming off these mountains down here, especially off of Colombia, but nothing really closing off in the same area that the GFS shows. And we'll just run this out to 120 hours and compare the two. Yep, quite a stark contrast, I think you could say. However, as disastrous as the GFS has been this year on a number of different storms, I mean, it handled Melissa and its genesis and all of that just terribly. sometimes the GFS does do very well with Genesis. And you just don't know, is this one of those times? I don't know. And I know we could look at the ensembles and look at the AI models and all that, but I'm trying to keep this brief for lots of reasons. We just don't need to dig that deep into it because it doesn't look that threatening. But the operational and some of the ensemble members of the GFS trying to scare something up, we know the pattern's going to get more favorable in the upper levels. I've already been through all this. There are reasons to at least say, all right, we'll watch and see what happens, beyond the fact that there's nothing else to do tropically related, except, of course, watching that typhoon out in the Westpac. So, we might as well keep an eye on this and see what transpires. All right. Let me at least switch back over. Okay, yeah, these are related. This is the TAF-B post that I wanted to show you, tropical analysis and forecast branch. And this is posted on the 4th, but it's still relevant, right? High pressure building south through Mexico will continue to force gale force gap winds into the Gulf of Tehuantepec into Wednesday. That's a couple days ago, but still very relevant. And there it is. You can see it on their nice little infographic. And then as I was showing you, it shows up very well here on the anomaly chart, those winds really screaming through. And it's just this little narrow area. Geographically, I guess it's kind of like an isthmus, an area that connects two different land masses. I don't know. I don't think that qualifies. This is an isthmus. ISTHUMS or something like that. I don't, whatever. But it's a geographic term. I don't know if that counts as one, but neither here nor there. It's thin enough of a land area, between southeastern Mexico and Central America proper, that the wind has a pretty efficient time blowing through. And on the other side, it really gets cranking, and you can stir up those sea surface temperatures quite a bit. I just think it's neat, and I thought I would point it out. All right. So isthmus, whatever. Look it up yourselves. Ask your dad. Isn't that what people say? So this is interesting. We'll talk about this on Monday. For Monday's update, another post from the incredible Ben Knoll. We're probably going to quickly exit this La Nina pattern over the next few months and maybe head into weak El Nino conditions, the abnormal warming of the tropical Pacific. There's the La Nina in place now out in the deep tropics along the equatorial region, gradually heading towards, well, actually, maybe rapidly, towards a low-end El Nino, which would increase heat globally. It's like turning up the thermostat for the planet, and a lot more moisture added to the overall atmosphere because, folks, the Pacific, come on, that's a huge chunk of real estate out there. And when you start to warm that up, even a half a degree Celsius over all that acreage, you do add a lot more energy. And, water vapor does hold a lot of energy. We call that latent heat. So interesting things as we get into 2026, not just related to upcoming hurricane season stuff, but global weather patterns and all the stuff that goes along with that. So we'll address that more on Monday, all right? This weekend, very excited to attend and speak at my first, like they invited me last year. I couldn't make it because I had other things going on. This year, though, I'm going to be there at the Mid-Atlantic Severe Weather Conference, my first appearance. That is tomorrow. If you're going to go, please say hello. I'd like to meet you up in Richmond, Virginia. So it's a kind of a home game for me, pretty easy to get up there. And these are the different people that make it happen. Really appreciate the invitation. I am going to speak to an audience of dozens of people about the remote camera project, of course, but really focusing on the use of video as data. That once we're done with the eye candy part, the here and now, the newsworthy stuff, what about the data? What can we learn from the video? And then, of course, I'm going to really talk about and focus on the future of all of this, which is 360 video, and how that can be very, very helpful in the future of not only our work, but anybody out there in the, quote, storm chasing community as a whole. I think it could be very, very useful. And I'm going to talk about some of the stuff we did with our hail work and, of course, during hurricanes as well. So, yep, I'll be up at the Mid-Atlantic Severe Weather Conference tomorrow. And again, if you're attending, don't hesitate to come up and say hello. I'll be the last speaker of the day, and I guarantee you it'll knock your socks off. All right? All right, have a great weekend. Thanks for tuning in to me and giving me a part of your day. From all of us at HurricaneTrack, I am Mark Sudduth. If I don't see you tomorrow in Richmond, I'll see you again Monday right here.